What is up, guys? It's Doodoo Poker here, back for another video. Today we are going to be talking about 5 poker concepts that fish do not understand. I'm going to go through all 5, and I'm going to try to give you a good example with MDA to show the lack of understanding and how we can exploit this lack of understanding of these 5 concepts. Concept number 1. Absolute value versus relative value. Fish think in absolute terms. Do I have a good hand or do I have a bad hand? They don't connect their hand to the board. So as an example, if a fish had 2 pair on a 4 to a straight board, no gap, they're going to call any bet with a 2 pair because they have 2 pair, and 2 pair is strong in a very absolute sense. But 2 pair could be a negative EV call on a 4 to a straight board. So how do we exploit this lack of understanding? You want to bluff smaller in your triple barrel line. So if I triple barrel a fish, I'm never going to overbet river with a bluff because they're not going to fold high absolute value hands. So when I bluff a fish, I'm not targeting a hand like 2 pair or a strong top pair. I'm targeting air that missed or 3rd or 4th pair. So you always bluff small on the river in triple barrel lines. That's the first way to exploit a fish. The second way to exploit a fish is you want to bluff bigger in your broken lines. What's a broken line? Any line with a check in it. So in the check bet bet line or the bet check bet line, you would never use small sizing. You want to use over bet sizing in that line because now I'm trying to get my opponent, who is a fish, to fold 2nd or 3rd pair. Thirdly, you want to value bet bigger than theory with your very strong hands. In the same way that I don't bluff huge because I know they don't fold 2 pair on a 4 straight board, well, now I want to value bet huge. So we go huge with our value on the river, and we know they're going to call more than theory. The second concept fish do not understand is bet sizing. They do not understand bet sizing. So we're going to look at some MDA. And what you notice from fish MDA is the bigger the sizing in the triple barrel line, the closer they defend to MDF, sometimes even exceeding minimum defense frequencies. So let's go over this. Let's go look at MDA for the call fold line. We see we're in the small blind and we see bet flop against a fish. He calls, we bet on the turn, he calls again, and we're on the river. Well, let's get a calculator. We know if we use our calculator that this number here should be 50%. It's 49%, and these are huge samples. What should 120 be? Well, 120 should be 50, let's round up to 55%, and it's 53. So you see they're defending more than minimum defense frequency. This is why you do not want to big bet bluff a fish in a triple barrel line. What should 150 be? Well, let's go 150. 150 divided by 250 is 60. So you're seeing a common trend. When the overbet happens on the river, they are defending more than MDF. The alpha is lower than it should be. That means you do not want to bluff fish when you bet big in the triple barrel. Number 3 is board texture. Fish do not understand board texture like regulars do. That is why you will see them overbluff on boards like monotone boards, ace-high boards, where regulars will do the opposite. I'm going to show you an example of how this plays out in MDA. Let's look at a spot where we are in the cutoff, we RFI, the button, who's a fish, calls, and the small blind and the big blind fold. Let's first look at Reg MDA, and we're going to see in the triple bet line where they are in position. So we're in the cutoff, we check call a stab from the button, then he bets turn, we check call, then he bets river, we check call. Across all sizings except very small, this is an under bluff line from regs. But wait, if I go to fish MDA for the exact same spot, what do you guys notice? You notice that a monotone board in a triple stab line is 33 weak, but a king high board is 36 weak. There are no huge discrepancies based on board type. Why? Because fish do not understand board texture. If I put this up from a regs perspective, this would be much, much different. But there's only a 33 to 41 or 8% gap between all flops. Regs gaps are between 15 and 20%. A fish is only 8%. This is because they don't understand board texture. All right, number 4. Number 4 is ranges. Fish do not understand ranges. Fish only think about their hand and not their range of hands. They don't even know what a range is. For this reason, and how we exploit this lack of understanding, is when we play a fish, we never think about our range of hands. All we care about against a fish is our exact hand on the exact board texture. What is the highest EV play in a vacuum against this player at this exact moment? We do not care about balance, and we do not play our range against a fish because a fish is not thinking about ranges, and you only play your range against an opponent that is also thinking about their range. That's number 4. Number 5 is position. Fish do not understand the importance of position. We see this as the 3-bet pot in position pre-flop raiser. Versus a c-bet, a fish is supposed to defend wider in a wider formation. So for example, in a small blind versus big blind 3-bet spot, they're supposed to defend more than in a cutoff versus button 3-bet spot, but they defend similar percentages. Let's take a peek at some MDA. We know if a fish is in the small blind, any RFIs, and I'm in the big blind, and I 3-bet, and the fish calls, and I c-bet small, well, we see the GTO percentage is between 22 and 28. And the fish are folding on the high end of GTO. Also, if I bet 50, they're overfolding. But if I go to a different formation, like a cutoff versus button formation, we see the opposite phenomenon happens. What does that mean? That means if I bet 30 now, the fish is overcalling. Why? Why is the fish overcalling now? Because he's not understanding that you have to defend tighter in tighter formations, and you have to defend wider and wider formations. He's playing almost the same, 28% to 30%, and he's not accounting for the difference in positions. That means they underfold in 3-bet pots on the flop in tighter formations, but they overfold in the widest formations. This is very important, and this is proof that fish do not understand position. So let's do a recap. Number 1, fish do not understand absolute value versus relative value. They will call 2 pair on a 4 straight board. They don't understand bet sizing. When you overbet in the triple barrel line, they will call more than MDF. So we have to understand when we're bluffing fish, we want to use smaller sizing in the triple barrel line. They also don't understand board texture. We see there's no huge differences between a monotone board and like a queen or king high board. Number 4, ranges. They do not understand ranges. Again, when we're playing a fish, we don't care about our range. All we care about is the highest EV line in a vacuum. And number 5 is position. We realize that fish versus a c-bet on the flop will overfold in a wide formation, like a small blind versus big blind 3-bet, but will overcall in a tighter formation, like let's say it's under the gun versus button 3-bet. They will call too much on the flop because they're not accounting for the position and also the formation. All right, guys, I know that was a lot, but this is 5 poker concepts that fish do not understand. If you enjoy this type of content, please give me a like, please give me a subscribe. New video every single day, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I will see you guys in the next video. Take care.